Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of
Models Off Duty. So today is June 1 and it is also April's birthday month. So how fitting is it that we're launching a new series that we're calling Behind the Brand, where we interview founders, get to know them a little bit and their story. So today we are going to be talking to Aprille. She has a waterproof phone case business called Seaquatix, and we just want to learn more about what got you started, what motivated you, and how did Seaquatix come about?
Okay, so I was actually a lawyer for about 7 years and I wasn't loving it. And so I was looking for a creative outlet to do anything but law. And I went on holidays at the time to the Philippines, and we were staying in this beautiful island called Boracay.
Love it there.
Yes. And basically, for those of you who haven't been to Boracay, it's broken up into different stations. And we were staying in station 1, and I think there's 2 and 3.
What did the stations mean?
Yeah. So basically, I think station 1 is where like all of the bougie hotels
Where were you saying?
Station 1.
Station 1? Oh, she's bougie, girl.
And then 2 and 3 were kind of like mid-tier, and then I think it goes like lower. So there were all these people on the beach at station 1, and what they were doing was, I guess they target, if you're smart, I guess you target the people at station 1. Every day they would come and say, hey, come on our boat, come and do this snorkeling tour, come and do X, Y, and Z activity. And every day we were like, no, no, no. And eventually they won. We ended up going on this boat with them. And I wanted to take, you know me, I wanted to take content.
Of course.
But my phone, all I had was my phone. And we had our hotel swipe and, you know, some cash and stuff. And we couldn't because we were taken out on a tiny wooden boat in the middle of the ocean. But we were like, what if they just left us here? And so
The people that are taking you out on the boat?
yeah, what if they were like, yeah, go into the water and go and snorkel. And then they took off with all of our stuff. What we did was one of us went in the water, the other one stayed on the boat, then got out, and the other one jumped in the water to snorkel.
So you could never actually swim together.
No. And the guys were probably thinking, what are these people doing? But, you know, being a lawyer, I was very risk adverse. And so we just didn't want to risk it, because what if we were left in the middle of the ocean and all of our stuff was taken with us? I was like, wouldn't it be great if we had a waterproof case that you could put your phone in and some of your other valuables, not just a phone case, but like a little dry bag pouch, so that you could carry other stuff with you, so that if they did leave us in the middle of the ocean,
you got everything. You
Exactly.
just have to swim all the way back to shore.
That's probably the biggest problem that I had. My phone would be good, but I would drown.
You need a waterproof case for yourself.
Yeah. And that's kind of how it came about. So then I came back to Australia, 18 months of R&D, like research and development, got a few prototypes made, lost a few phones in the ocean,
making,
in the testing. And then we came up with Seaquatix.
And what sparked the name? Like, where does Seaquatix come from?
Yeah, that's a really interesting story. So I remember being in bed at the time and I was like trying to work out a name. Like, what are we going to call this product? What are we going to call it? Our first name that we landed on that nobody knows. This is an exclusive, guys.
Do I even know?
No, you don't even know.
What is it?
And we even had a logo for it and everything. The first name that we had was, drum roll, Aquasac.
Aquasac, really?
Yeah, and I don't
What was the
think-
logo?
It actually was not good at all. And I'm so glad that we went with Seaquatix, because the Aquasac would just is not it. And then I was like, it is an aquatic case. You can put it in the sea. And then I merged
Sea and aquatic.
Yeah, so it's
Seaquatix.
Seaquatix. Yeah.
I love it. So you mentioned during the prototype testing and everything like that, all those stages, it took 18 months of R&D. Do you have any advice, or what would you wish you knew that you know now back when you first started?
The advice that I wish I knew when I was starting out is that if you want to start a business, you have to be all in. You have to be excessively obsessed because you'll be working around the clock. You'll be wearing a lot of different hats. In Seaquatix, I'm customer service. I'm social media girl. I'm like, the BD girl. I'm manufacture production. I'm packing orders sometimes. Like I play all the roles. But at the same time, I think that's what makes a good founder because you know every part of the business deeply. Like, for example, I don't know if this is true and I don't know if we're going to cut this out, but like, for example, if you were like the head of like Lamborghini, do you know every single part of your business intimately? I think that's what makes a good founder. When you know every part of your business, if something goes wrong or if someone can't do something, you can step in straight away.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that is a misconception because people think starting their own business, they're going to have the freedom to do anything. They're sick of working their 9 to 5. But when you're a founder, you're working 24/7, even more. Yeah. But it's all worth it, right?
It's totally worth it. But you're always switched on and you're always thinking about how do I grow it? What can I do to improve? And, where's the next opportunity going to come from?
Yeah. And I think just over the years, because it's been nearly a decade of Seaquatix, not Aquasac. Do you have any like special moments or customer relationships that you've built along the way?
Yeah, I mean, a really special moment for me, I think, was when we landed our first retail store, which was General Pants. Shout out to General Pants for taking a chance on us. And another really special moment was actually with you. We were at the 5 kilometer foam fest, which is something that we do every year. A girl came up to us and she needed to bring her EpiPen and in her inhaler, and they just didn't know what to do with it, and they didn't know we were there, and they came up to us and they bought a Seaquatix case, and at the end her mum came up to us and the daughter, and they were she was crying because she was like, without your product, this is something that and I get really emotional actually every time. This was something that my daughter's always wanted to be able to do, but she hasn't been able to do it because, worrying about where she would put her EpiPen, her inhaler, going through water and mud. And they were so grateful that she was able to have this experience because of our product. And that to me is more meaningful than any, yes, taking social media and cool influencer photos and all of the photo shoots and working with cool brands and having our stuff stocked in cool brands. It is actually those moments where we're changing people's lives. And I love that. And then that just goes to show that your cases, they're not just for phones, right? Because that was the initial idea. Yeah. I remember another person was like, I just want to put my keys in my wallet. Like they don't even want to put their phone, but just to use that as protection going through, the 5 kilometer foam fest. I think that moment was a really impactful and emotional and meaningful moment where you have that light bulb go off and go, this is why we're doing what we're doing.
If Seaquatix had a dream collab, whether that's with a brand or a person, who would you want it to be with?
Oh, that's a really good question. I think if it was for a brand, it would be like a Billabong or like a surf kind of brand, right? Or, because we're also stocked in like resorts and hotels. So like a Club Med also. So Club Med, please, if you're listening, we would love to collab with you. If it was a person or a celebrity, I guess the Kardashians, because they are just the masters. Yeah,
the biggest influencers out there.
Exactly. So Kim Kardashian, Kylie, Khloe,
Kendall, Courtney.
Even Kris Jenner. Like, if you're listening, Seaquatix wants to do a collab with you guys. Yeah, that would be it.
And what are the future plans for Seaquatix moving forward? What can we expect?
Well, I feel like a lot of people don't know that we also have sand-free towels, which are really awesome, by the way. And
I love them. I'm a big advocate for Seaquatix sandproof towels because it's so compact and it's so light and the sand doesn't go on it.
Exactly.
Which is the best part.
Who wants to bring sand home from the beach unless you want it as a souvenir or something?
No, we get enough of it on our bodies.
Yeah, exactly. I think eventually I wouldn't mind coming out with more beach lifestyle or holiday lifestyle kind of products that can expand the line. Maybe a sunscreen line. There's a sunscreen that I really love in Italy that I think we could maybe be inspired from and bring it out here.
You saw it first on Models Off Duty.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's it. We've learned so much more about Seaquatix. Even me, I thought I knew everything, but can't get over Aquasac. But we do really appreciate sharing your insights on your business, about what starting a business is all about.
If there are any businesses out there that want to come on Models Off Duty and tell your story and get us to know your brand a bit better, definitely let us know. And that's all for this episode of Behind the Brand on Models Off Duty.
I think it should just end like that.
Yeah, agree. Okay, one more time. That one's going in the promo.
Yeah, okay.
Now that I'm conscious about it.
Yeah.
Maybe a sunscreen line? That's going to go into...
That's it. Oh, okay. I think I got to expand on it. Sorry.
I was, but I was so conscious of it. Okay, let's do it. We are professionals.
Just don't look at me.
Okay. Maybe a sunscreen.